welcome back to the Coleman channel and a further welcome to the Tube Review. Wow, yes, the Tube Review, the fun little series where we review things, movies, shows and the like and whatnot. I need to fix my hair before we continue on. But yeah, I think without any pussyfooting around, any messing around, we're just going to dive into it. You already know what you're here for. It's time, it's happening, it's Moon Knight. So yes, Moon Knight, it's over, it's finally done. Wow, it's absolutely crazy. Literally as of today, the 4th of May, the finale episode literally just dropped. I am fresh off of watching it, probably a couple of hours ago. And yeah, you know, it's a pretty big deal. It's obviously the first MCU show focused on starring a completely new character from the comic books. I suppose all the other MCU shows which have starred, you know, characters we all know like Loki and Hawkeye, Wanda and Vision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and all that good stuff. Moon Knight is the first one with the first show that stars a completely new character. And yeah, you know, it's you know, they announced Moon Knight years back. I can't remember when they announced it. It was probably when they started talking about Phase 4, when they started talking about making MCU shows on Disney Plus. So probably around the time Loki and that was announced, and then obviously had to wait because COVID put everything back. But now it's finally finished. It's pretty crazy because it felt like we were waiting for this show for absolutely ever and ages and ages and ages. And you know, it was a pretty exciting thing because, like I said, Moon Knight, you know, he's never been in the MCU before, and it's a hell of a character to include into the MCU. He's a really cool dude. He's basically a mix between Batman and Spawn with a multiple personality disorder. You know, Batman with all the cool nifty gadgets and the, you know, flying around in the night times and stuff, and Spawn because, you know, he's the agent of a malevolent god character and stuff like that. And yeah, he has multiple personality disorder. On top of all that, 3 different personas all doing different things. So he's a very interesting character with a whole bunch of interesting tropes. A very unique introduction to the MCU and a very cool dude, big Mark Spector fan. Many years I thought Moon Knight would be a really cool character introduced into the fray, and obviously, like I've said this many times before, and other stuff like on the Implication Hour, on Soup Group and all that kind of stuff. Now that the MCU is fully established, the Infinity Saga is all done, everyone is here for Marvel, they can go a little bit crazy and introduce some offshoot characters that not a lot of people would have been familiar with, unlike, you know, Captain America and Iron Man and Thor. You know, Marvel characters that people who might not have read the comics would have an idea about, but now we have these characters that are a bit more under the radar, I would suppose. Not, you know, more the comic book dudes would know who these characters are. Moon Knight, I would certainly say, is a character that many comic book fans would know, but not many people outside of the Marvel comics would know about, I suppose. So yeah, basically I've been incredibly pumped for Moon Knight to come out. Probably, honestly, out of all of the Marvel shows, the one I was the most excited for, because it's a brand new character and it's a hell of a character to make a show about. You know, Mark Spector's a rad character. Moon Knight's just a rad superhero vigilante person with the multiple personality disorder thrown in, and also the Egyptian themes and Khonshu and the Egyptian Pantheon. And, you know, he's a very interesting character primarily because of the whole question of, is he just mentally ill because of his multiple personality disorder, or does he actually have, and he's like, is he hallucinating, talking to Khonshu, or is he actually the avatar of an Egyptian god who is enacting vengeance upon people in the night times and killing them? Well, you know, which is, we've not really had a superhero in the MCU who has had focus on murder, not since Punisher, who's kind of like part of the defunct original MCU shows and stuff like that. So yeah, very exciting stuff. Really cool character to introduce to the MCU. And Oscar Isaac, I thought was an interesting choice to play him. Not the first Egyptian, not the first like Egyptian-esque Marvel character he's played. Obviously, he played Apocalypse in that one X-Men film that was like apparently just straight hot garbage. I never watched it, but you know, very interesting that they would bring him in to play another, not an Egyptian fella, but you know, with Egyptian characteristics. But yeah. Anyway, I think we'll just cut to the chase, and we will do our spoiler-free review. Obviously, this show is incredibly fresh. The finale literally just came out. The show just ended. So I will give you my spoiler-free review, what I thought about it, things I liked about it, things I didn't like about it, and you know, just my overall thoughts and how it compares to the rest of the MCU in terms of the shows and stuff like that. To start off, I should say, probably from the best to worst in my opinion. Should we put them in the epic to lame ratio as well? And we could probably do that, right? WandaVision was pretty much up there, probably my second favourite of all the shows that it did. I think I probably would have put that probably in high tier, very epic, most likely. And then Loki was probably my favourite of all of them so far. I'm not doing this in order, but I think that was probably low tier, most epic, I would believe. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier was probably the one that was like the most formulaic to the MCU. I'm not complaining about that too much, you know, just like superheroes fighting evil and all that kind of stuff, because it kind of went into that at the end of WandaVision. Before then it was a completely different off-kilter thing. But for what it was, I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I would have probably put it at low tier, very epic. And then Hawkeye, I didn't really fuck with that much at all. I just thought it was kind of boring. There was some highlight moments, you know, like you know, Kingpin pulling up and all that kind of stuff. The car chase scene was pretty cool, the way they did the cinematography and all that. But in general, I kind of thought that Hawkeye was pretty boring. I would have said that was like high tier, pretty lame, to be honest. And then What If, I would probably just put that low tier, most epic as well, because it's a big anthology of different stories and stuff. And Marvel Zombies is in it, so that's pretty sick. Anyway, Moon Knight, I thought, honestly, the Moon Knight was pretty okay. I thought it was okay. It was not bad. It was pretty decent. It wasn't blow my nuts off. Oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever fucking seen. Which I thought it was going to be. It wasn't the best MCU show in my opinion, which I thought it would be. I thought it would honestly knock Loki out of the park, to be brutally real. Just in terms of the story itself and the story of Moon Knight and how it was going to be this brutal, action-packed, you know, fucking Egyptian moon discs flying everywhere. Kind of like how they advertised it with Moon Knight. That one shot of Moon Knight just punching the fuck out of that weird Egyptian critter thing like it was out The Mummy Returns. Just a lot of brutal, you know, almost like the Batman-esque, you know, people getting beat up by Moon Knight. And no holds barred, like they kind of said it was going to be. They said it was going to be brutal and action-packed and off-kilter, and obviously be really crazy with the mental health thing in terms of what's real and what isn't real and all that kind of stuff. And you know, they kind of did a bit of that, all of that, but like, and not, honestly, not the way that I think they said they were going to do. I think they said they were going to deliver on something, they didn't quite deliver it to the extent that they made out they were going to, is basically what I got out of it. In general, I thought it was a little bit tame in a lot of places. I think it took a long time to build up to get to get good. I was going to say really good, but I don't think any of it was particularly really good. That's not true. The finale was fucking nuts, but we'll get to that. I'm not going to divulge too much on that until we get to the spoilerific review, but it took a while to build up. It was a hell of a slow burner instead of just insane from the get-go. And you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing in itself. WandaVision was certainly a show which built up the intrigue. Well, the first episode was like a 15-minute long fucking 50s sitcom and nothing else, and then it slowly eked up as it went on, and then all the barriers broke down and reality started sinking in, and then you know, it just basically turned into an MCU action superhero beat 'em up near the end. But Moon Knight, just, I think the build-up was just a bit too slow in my opinion. It wasn't very satisfying. I didn't think the story was particularly gripping. I didn't think it really picked up until probably the last 3 episodes when they hit Egypt is when I started to get pretty interesting. And the only reason why is because it felt like I was watching The Mummy or something like that. I got really good, you know, Egyptian horror vibes going in through pyramids, and it was all dank and creepy, you know, mummies running around the place and all that kind of stuff. And then you obviously explored the Egyptian Pantheon, which is pretty exciting. You know, I love Marvel comics including different pantheons, like obviously the Norse gods with Thor, and now with Ragnarok coming out, they're going to be exploring the Greek gods like Zeus and hopefully Hercules pulling up. Hercules in the comics is basically, to the Greek Pantheon, what Thor is to the Norse Pantheon, is like the main dude from that Pantheon in the comics, but I digress. It's exciting, and you know, diving into another Pantheon, the Egyptian gods, are very interesting because also they're all anthropomorphic animal dudes who represent different, you know, aspects of life. You know, obviously like life and death, and the sun and the moon and all that kind of stuff. Is pretty cool. So yeah, basically there's a lot of different aspects about Moon Knight I was very excited to see, and I thought it was going to be totally insane. Like they said, it was going to be, you've never seen anything like this before in the MCU, man. And honestly, there's kind of been a recurring theme of people that have been like developing a show or a film saying like you've never seen this before in the MCU, and it kind of telling the truth, but not really. Like there was a little bit of that, but it's still quite formulaic in its way. And I'm not even necessarily saying that I don't like the MCU formula where it's like Barry versus Goody superhero film. You know, I'm simple. I'm a simple man. I love Marvel comics and I love seeing them adapted on the big screen. That is simply all there is to it. And you know, some films, and you know, the formula isn't the problem for me. It's whether the film is bad or good or entertaining is the, you know, that is what makes it for me. And the other thing is, when they say it's going off the beaten track, it doesn't really turn out to be that way. I like the formula. Formulaic stuff's fine as long as it's entertaining. But when they say they're going to deliver something different, I expect to see something different, is my thing. And Moon Knight was one of these ones where they said it's going to be different, and it kind of really wasn't. It just had some different things in terms of like the mental health, you know, bodies, you know, personality swapping, waking up in different places, the difference between Mark Spector and Stephen Grant and all that kind of stuff. And you know, the violent aspect, the series beat 'em up, blood and, you know, stuff like that. And you know, there was a little bit of all of that, but not what felt like the extent that they said it was going to be. It really just felt like another Marvel show with that kind of thing going on. And also, not enough Moon Knight in my fucking honest opinion. I felt, honestly, for the first 3 episodes, I really felt like they should have called it Mark Spector Moon Knight, because at that point, before the finale, you saw Moon Knight literally, like, I would say twice or 3 times, and every episode's about an hour long or 50 minutes, so it's quite a lot of time to build up to having Moon Knight in the show, and he's barely in it. Honestly, I think you might see Mr. Knight, the suited version of Moon Knight, more. I think you see Stephen Grant as Mr. Knight more than you see Mark Spector as Moon Knight, which is an interesting thing. I may be tripping when I'm saying that, but it felt like that. You know, there was some serious highlight moments. I liked it way better than Hawkeye, which is very important. I thought Hawkeye was pretty boring and dull and not very exciting. You know, not to blaspheme Hawkeye the character or anything like that, because the show could have been really cool. I was expecting more of like a secret agent-y, you know, espionage, I guess. Not James Bond per se, but like, you know, and that sort of thing, you know. And there was a bit of that, you know, some investigation and stuff, but I guess the story itself just didn't really grasp me that much. I thought the whole thing was quite boring, and the only character I really cared about the whole time was Hawkeye himself, and then obviously Kingpin when he pulled up for the like couple of minutes he was in it. But it was just a very boring show and a boring premise. But Moon Knight, I didn't find boring. There was some definite great highlight moments that saved it from being not that great in the same level as Hawkeye. I thought it was pretty decent. It was not bad, but it was not mind-blowingly insane or just like great either. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'll say this when we get to the spoilerific part of the review. I'll say this as well: the finale, I honestly think, was one of the greatest finales of any of the MCU shows, which was very surprising and very gratifying as well, because of if that finale was not as kick-ass as it was, I would honestly have said Moon Knight was not even just not bad or pretty good. I would have just said it was okay, like just flat out okay, not bad or not good either. But the finale utterly fucking saved this show from mediocrity and raised up a little bit and made it all worthwhile. And even then, the episode before it was also kind of damn good, and the episode before that was pretty neat, and then the rest of it I wasn't too much into. Really, I didn't get gripped until episode 4 is what essentially I'm saying to you right now. Okay, now we're going to go into the spoilerific review portion of the review. But yeah, pretty much everything I said before in the spoiler-free one is still extant. obviously. I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail what I thought about everybody. And everything. So yeah, my main gripe of the whole thing was that it didn't deliver on what I said it was going to deliver on, really. And especially the absence of Moon Knight throughout the whole show, I thought was pretty shitty. When all the advertisements we saw building up to Moon Knight coming out, you know, all the shots of Moon Knight, you know, that one bit where he jumps from across a building and it fucking comes up the Disney Plus logo. You know, the scene where he's beating the shit out of that fucking Egyptian critter thing. Pretty much all those shots that you see are from, I would say, like the first 2 episodes. No, I think probably for like episode 1 and episode 3. And that's honestly most of the majority of Moon Knight that you see throughout the whole fucking show. He's just barely fucking in it, which is a damn shame because you're there for Moon Knight, obviously, hence the name of the show. And Moon Knight just looked great anyway. He had a really cool original design that was inspired by the comics, and they really made him look sick. They kind of took that the Egyptian mummy kind of design with the wrappings and stuff like that, and the transformation sequence is also really, really cool. And Oscar Isaac I actually quite liked as Mark Spector. It took me a while to warm up to him, especially because he starts off as Stephen Grant. I was not too sure about his English accent at all. It was a bit of a dweeb, didn't really feel natural, honestly, at all. He did grow into the character though, especially like near the last 2 episodes, thank God. When the two like learn to live with each other and they're not like blacking out and shit. It works quite well, I honestly believe. But it took a while, and you know, I was really just waiting for Mark Spector to pull up because I was not fucking with Stephen Grant all that much. You know, it started off interesting enough with him mostly focused on Stephen being a normal dude. He keeps blacking out, waking up in random places. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's always tired, and it turns out it's Mark the whole time. And you know, it builds up to the reveal of Mark Spector and the reveal of Moon Knight and how Stephen doesn't know what the hell's going on and stuff. And, you know, that whole aspect's pretty cool, but you know, it's nothing too insane. Again, I don't know. It doesn't feel like you're asking yourself what the hell is going on, because I think, I mean, even if you have not read the comics, and I've not read a lot of Moon Knight comics, by the way, but you can kind of assume what is going on. Like, it's not like WandaVision where you're asking yourself what is this and what is happening. Like, he's clearly swapping personalities, he's like that, and then he's killed some people and he's holding a gun. Well, it's obviously the other personality, the Mark Spector personality, that's pulled up and shot up some people and whatnot. There's not a lot of it's, you know, it's obvious. It's not like a big head scratcher of what the hell's going on. The only thing that maybe people, I think, asked what was going on was the times when both of them didn't know what the fuck was going on, and it was his hidden third personality, Jake Lockley, because obviously Mark Spector Moon Knight has 3 different prime personas. That was pretty good, because I guess not a lot of people, they didn't advertise Jake Lockley very often, or at all. It was mostly Stephen and Mark, so it was wise that they kind of let Jake be the hidden personality, and then when, you know, Mark blacks out, wakes up, doesn't know what the fuck happened, asks Stephen what happened, he doesn't fucking know what happened either, and it kind of makes you go, what the hell then, you know? That was interesting. But obviously, at the end of the day, Mark and Stephen are the 2 main prime personas throughout the whole show, and it was just kind of obvious that that was going on, I guess. So it wasn't too nuts, it wasn't a mind bender or anything like that, and there just was not enough Moon Knight in it at all. Really bummed me out. Like, it made up for it in the finale. Like, a lot of things got made up for in the finale. Yeah, it just wasn't gripping, man. Wasn't really feeling it at all. And I really just felt like there needed to be a little bit more Moon Knight in it. I don't know. I just felt like the episodes are particularly the episodes are particularly long. And I just felt like they could have had more room to fit him in. And I just felt like the particular story they were telling didn't really allow for Moon Knight to be in it that often. And I know they want to suspend his appearance and that. And then, you know, one of the reasons that, you know, makes sense that I got told was, you know, they paid for Oscar Isaac's face. And I get that as well. You know, you pay for these famous actors, you want them to be seen as opposed to wearing these masks and stuff. But man, fucking think about the original Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. was a pretty big dude at that point in time, and they managed to perfectly, and that was a movie, I get that, but again, these episodes are very long. They managed to perfectly, I think, divvy out Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. and the Iron Man armor between those two. It felt very right when Iron Man had the screen time, and it felt really right when Tony Stark had the screen time, I think, personally. And in Moon Knight, I just felt it was very off-kilter when Mark Spector, Stephen Grant had their screen time in Moon Knight, and Mr. Knight had their screen time. Just did not feel perfectly balanced enough. I really just don't feel like Moon Knight was in it enough at all. But when he was on the screen, it was very satisfying. It was very good to see him running around. Oscar Isaac's voice fits the Moon Knight look very well. Mr. Knight is also pretty sick. I kind of didn't really, again, I don't know if it was the accent that threw me, but I wasn't too sure about Stephen Grant with the Mr. Knight persona. I didn't really feel like this would be the look that Stephen Grant would go for the, you know, the suave suit and, you know, the mask and all that kind of, you know, the kind of like head mask thing or whatever the fuck. But again, finale made it all worthwhile. He blended in with the whole thing very well, and you know, by episode 5, Stephen Grant became pretty sick when they revealed the grand truth and all that kind of stuff. And that's the point as well. I guess the main head scratcher was, who is the original personality? Was it Mark Spector or was it Stephen Grant? I mean, obviously Mark Spector's the main dude. That's the name that you put to Moon Knight. But for those who did not read the comics, and I've not read many of them, it was a bit of a curious bit for a minute, like who the hell was it? And the reveal was very sad. Like, that was a real rough moment to witness. The psychological trauma that Mark had to go through, the loss of his brother, and you know, an abusive mother and all that kind of stuff, and then Stephen Grant is created from that abuse to cope with it, and it makes their relationship together very solidified. And even though they're the same person to Oscar Isaac's on screen running around the place, they really did feel like two different people. Which I must say was pretty cool. And yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive. It felt they felt like they had, you know, the two separate personalities came together quite well by that point in that 5th episode, when they were exploring the trauma and why, you know, their hearts aren't balanced, whatever the fuck the reason was. They're trying to come back to life because they died at that point. And that's a good point as well. That takes us into like the Egyptian Pantheon stuff, which I thought was pretty actually quite well explored. I was very iffy about Khonshu and kind of a lot of the gods as well. Like, I wasn't too sure about like the personalities of, like, Khonshu kind of warmed up to after a while, but like Tawaret, the hippo god, I think she's like the goddess protection or something like that. I don't remember, but they just added a bit to human, and I think she just kind of added like a temp. It was very strange. Like, you know, the person, it was funny enough and all that. I just wasn't too sure if it was very fit. Like, you know, I don't know if that's what these gods and goddesses act like in the comics. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, it would like saying that Loki couldn't act like a bit of a goofball, or Thor couldn't act like a goofball, because they're also gods. I guess the only difference is the Egyptian gods are animals, anthropomorphic animals, and I guess you'd expect them to be more serious. For some reason, I don't know, maybe that's just me being a weirdo, but I was expecting them to be a bit more, I am God, grandiose, you belong to me. But it didn't really come across that way, especially with Khonshu at the beginning. He seemed like a bit of a weirdo. And that's another thing, I feel like the abusive relationship between Khonshu and Mark could have been a bit stronger. Like, you know, they do hate Khonshu, and like they hate the fact that Khonshu's like got power over Mark and basically took his life away. But I don't know, I don't think the relationship was that much. I felt very one-sided. I don't think Khonshu cared all that much about the whole thing. I felt like it just really, I don't know, maybe it was right that he kind of just blatantly brushed it aside that Mark didn't like him or anything like that, or Layla, the deuteragonist of the show, played by May Calamawy, I think that's her name. You know, she reflects that into Khonshu and stuff like that, but I don't think there was enough of that there. I guess I was expecting it more to be like a relationship between I don't know how it is in the comics again, to be fair. But I guess we spent more of like a real like Moon Knight's gonna fucking kill Khonshu one day, almost like Spawn and Malbolgia, which is the same kind of relationship. I've never read the Spawn comics. It's the same kind of idea, except instead of the Egyptian god of the moon, it's a fucking equivalent of Satan, who's given Al Simmons, who's also a mercenary, much like Mark Spector, this fucking Hellspawn suit and whatnot, and he fucking basically gonna kill Malbolgia one day and stuff. I don't really feel like that. I don't really know how I felt about it, but you know, the Egyptian, that stuff was very cool. They explored it very well, especially the Egyptian afterlife and stuff. I thought it was really fucking sick on the big boat and the sands everywhere and the field of reeds, and you know the sand zombies and shit. All the sand zombies like victims of Mark, which I thought were pretty cool. And you know, the big build up of the coming of Amit, who's like the antagonist god, was pretty exciting enough. I maybe wonder what was going to happen there. Ethan Hawke is Arthur Harrow. Actually made a pretty good antagonist, I would say, purely because of his motivations are pretty on point, you know. It wasn't just a flat fucking villain. And a lot of these shows, I think, are trying to do that kind of stuff. Like, they're trying to make antagonists with purpose. The first one that comes to my mind is Falcon the Winter Soldier with the, I can't remember the girl's name, but like the leader of the Flag Smashers. Kind of an adaptation of the comic book character Flag Smasher. Well, she was a very boring character and I didn't think she was a very good villain. The motivations were pretty good. Like, they were leading this cause against the government and all that kind of stuff. And they were basically, a lot of innocent people were getting in the way, but you know, it was a just cause and all that kind of stuff. That is like the thing that springs to mind in regards to these, the way they're trying to make these villains personalities and stuff. And I would probably say Arthur Harrow was probably the best one when it comes to that so far, in terms of like his motivations and stuff. Like, he's trying to summon Amit to judge those who have done bad. Which direct, you know, that's the difference between Khonshu and Amit. Khonshu picks an avatar because he wants to punish evildoers, protect the people of the night, kind of thing, by killing them. But Amit just wants to kill people who would do bad before they even get a chance to do it, before they even know they would get a chance to do it, which is what Harrow wants as well, because he used to be an avatar moon of Khonshu and stuff. So he wants to bring Amit out, kill all the evildoers, even if they might be just innocent people. Don't give them a choice, basically. And he basically thinks it's for the greater good and for a paradise world, and all evil is wiped out, even though it's, you know, but people don't get a choice no more. It's a removal of free will and stuff. So, good villain, pretty good motivations. His opening scene was really great when he fucking smashes some glass and puts his little feet in his shoesies, and the glass in his shoesies is like self-punishment for all the things he's done and stuff. Pretty cool. Charismatic leader of a fucking cult, essentially, as well. So yeah, Ethan Hawke really played the role very well. I've liked Harrow quite a lot, especially when his big staff in the finale became a big rad crocodile staff and whatnot. And obviously Amit pulling up, I thought it was a bit bizarre at first. And I like the voice very much for Amit, but I like the big fucking mound of hair and the big, you know, because it's a big crocodile goddess and stuff. It's pretty rad. And while their evil scheme didn't last very long, like, I think the finale was the shortest episode of the entire show, which is because they packed a lot of shit in. Compared to the longer episodes, I thought it was quite impressive. The evil plan didn't last for very long. They started judging some people and killing them off, but it didn't last for too long at all. Other than that, I thought the plot was like just okay. I wasn't particularly gripped until like the 4th episode where they go to Egypt. Before then, it's kind of just a lot of build up, figuring out what, you know, Stephen Grant finds out about Mark Spector and all that kind of stuff, turning into Moon Knight. And Layla, Mark's partner, pulling up, and you know, he's Steven and no one knows what the fuck's going on, and Harrow's hunting them down and he doesn't know what's going on. There's a lot of build up to finding all this stuff out. And get a bit boring, and I was kind of faltering for a bit, honestly, until they get to Egypt, and it gets more exciting after that. And then the last 3 episodes are definitely the ones that brought it back for me, for sure, for all the reasons I've stated, all the cool felt like, again, I feel like watching The Mummy, like Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, which is a very underrated, great film, in terms of like exploring the pyramids and the creepy, dank, you know, ancient Egypt vibe and all that kind of stuff, and the music. Layla was really cool. She felt like a Lara Croft Tomb Raider kind of character, which is really cool. And you know, she's got some good lore. Her father in the comics was a superhero called the Scarlet Scarab, and then she becomes it in the end. She becomes the avatar for Tawamit, or whatever the name was, I forget, the hippo one. And the outfit was really fucking cool. You know, the big fucking wings and shit. I think it's a completely different design to what the Scarlet Scarab was like. He's a bit of a deep cut from the lore. But, you know, the outfit was pretty slick. The wings are pretty slick as well. I did like her design. It was pretty epic. And that was a good reveal to get another hero into the mix. I don't think I was expecting that at all, to be brutally honest. So it was a nice surprise. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was the fucking finale. Oh my fucking god. What a comeback, bro. Like, honestly, if that finale wasn't as kick-ass as it was, the show would definitely have just been very okay. Not good or not bad. But man, this finale at the very least made it pretty good. Like, pretty good. Not amazing, not even great, but you know, it was pretty good. You know what I mean? The finale was the biggest highlight. It was fucking great. You know, the Scarlet Scarab pulling up, Moon Knight finally getting some goddamn screen time, flying was pretty sick. You know, the seamless swapping between Moon Knight and Mr. Knight and using both of their different abilities together was pretty fucking fire. And some fucking kaiju Daikisen, bruh. Oh fuck, who would have fucking thought we were gonna get Tamit versus Khonshu? We're being like fucking 200 foot tall, kicking the shit out of each other next to the Egyptian pyramids. That was fucking fire. What an amazing highlight. It just all happened. And you know, good thing that the episode was short, because no pissing around, bruh. It just happened. It built up really nicely and quickly. You know, anticipation of Mark coming back to life after getting shot, escaping the afterlife and all that kind of stuff, saving Stephen and whatnot because he sacrificed himself in the midst of it all. Yeah, it was really good. I think Arthur kind of fell off at the end. He kind of lost his charismatic leader kind of vibe because, you know, it all happened at that point. He could just go ahead with it all. And then Tamit, I apologise if I forget the names of the gods. I feel like I am, but I may be tripping. Kind of took the centre stage after a while. I thought they was going to take Harrow was going to become an avatar and get a cool suit, but he didn't really. He just had this cool little staff. But you know, that's absolutely fine because we get two cool heroes. We're finally fucking getting some goddamn screen time. The beautiful completion of Arthur, the beautiful completion of Mark and Stephen blending together very nicely at the end. Thank God, we really needed to happen at some point. And you know, some fucking kaiju battles, man. Good God, amazing ending, fantastic finale. And obviously the further teasing of Jake Lockley finally makes an appearance in the end credits scene. They spare Harrow's life, and then they do not. It basically makes it like Moon Knight, Khonshu's promise to leave Stephen and Mark alone if it helps him, and he does, but he still has Jake Lockley in his grips. And they don't know about Jake, so Jake is the avatar now and not Mark. Very cool. I like the way, I like that in that he's got there, like as a hidden persona that he can still, you know, be cool with. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was pretty interesting, and yeah, it was just fucking really cool, really cool ending. Needed to happen, I would definitely say. And it makes you wonder because, like, obviously the three personas have got different things, and the big thing in the comics is like, much like Bruce Wayne, Moon Knight has got a lot of cash somewhere. He used to use a lot of gadgets like a fucking helicopter and stuff in the early comics, and it makes me excited for Jake later on if they do more Moon Knight at some point, because in the end he was in a big fuck off white limousine and stuff. It was very nice looking. So I wonder if he's gonna be the money man. I guess the only other thing I can think about that I can mention was this weird thing that started happening in the 5th episode after Mark gets shot, where he's like hallucinating or something, that he's in like a mental institution, and Harrow is there as like his, you know, psychiatrist and stuff. He runs this mental institution and he's like trying to talk to him and talk about Stephen, his personality. And I couldn't really tell what the fuck was going on there at all. Like, was it supposed to be, you know, is this real? Was it supposed to bring up the question of is it real or is it fake? Which is a good one. But then it kind of just blurred the lines after, you know, the mental institution was just like Mark's way of comprehending what the Egyptian afterlife looks like, and then it kind of goes back and forth between that for a while, and then near the finale, after Khonshu fucks off, it goes back to it for a second. Honestly, I didn't really get that at all. I don't, like, it would have made sense initially when it started doing it. I thought after he gets shot, it's just going to start going into the real or not real thing, which is a big aspect of Mark Spector's character. But I don't know, I didn't really, kind of lost, it got lost in translation for me. It was a bit, to be honest, I didn't really understand what was going on there at all, to be But if anything, out of all of it, I guess, I am definitely interested in finding out what's going to happen next with Moon Knight. Oscar Isaac's made it pretty clear that he's not signed his life away on the MCU, so I wonder what his future's going to be. How long is going to be Moon Knight for, whatever is going to happen with the character. I'm definitely excited for more. Like, even if the show wasn't that good, I would have still been excited to see more of Moon Knight because he's a rad character. And it's just glad, it's good that he's here in the MCU. And I think that's probably about it. I think that's my big review for Moon Knight. Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good. Just pretty good. It's not in the middle, it's not okay, it's not bad or not good. And it's not shit, and it's not fucking mind-blowingly amazing. It was pretty good. It was even great, either, and it was even just good. It was pretty good for the reasons I stated before. Yeah, the biggest disappointment was it didn't feel like a false advertising. It just felt like there was a bit of exaggeration in terms of, oh, this show's gonna be so different, man. The guts, the violence, the brutal beat-ups, man. Oh, the mental, oh, the crazy mental illness nonsense. It's like, yeah, there was a bit of all of that in there, but not to the extent that you were making out at all, I don't think. And there was just not enough Moon Knight for me at all until the finale. Some highlight moments, you know, like Mr. Knight moving the time of the moon cycles and stuff with Khonshu and all that kind of stuff. All that sort of stuff was pretty cool. But, you know, I just didn't feel like there was enough of them, TBH. And I don't think the plot at the very beginning was amazing enough to warrant Moon Knight not being in it too much. Honestly, I feel like Moon Knight should have been a film and not a show. It's kind of what I feel like. Moon Knight was the kind of character that really needed a film to introduce him. You know, the kind of, you know, She-Hulk is getting a show. I can accept She-Hulk getting a show. That's fine. Makes sense to me. Miss Marvel's getting a show. Makes sense, right? Loki getting a show. Makes sense to me. But Moon Knight really felt like a character that should have just had a movie, to be honest. I don't know. I just don't think a show format was the right thing to do for this kind of dude. Especially a brand new character to the MCU. Who has got a lot of fucking stuff going on with him. Especially with like a big AAA actor like Oscar Isaac, you know, Star Wars fame, Oscar Isaac, you know. Really felt like it should have been a film, honestly. But there were some good highlights, there were some good moments. It definitely wasn't like Hawkeye level of dull and boring and not interesting. What there was, even when it was probably not exciting or quite boring, held my attention enough. And, you know, the last 3 episodes really started to pick up the pace, definitely. And then the finale just blew it all over the water and made all of that dullness and waiting kind of worthwhile. I think that's probably my review of Moon Knight. And now, for the epic to lame ratio, I thought that Marvel Studios is Moon Knight probably low to mid tier, pretty epic. I think that's probably the best place for it to go. Low to mid tier, pretty epic. If the last few episodes in the finale weren't as sick as they were, or if the finale wasn't as epic as it was, and the last episode, the 2 episodes before that weren't, you know, interesting, it would have probably just been in like high tier, pretty lame, to low tier, pretty epic. But it gets bumped up a little bit in the pretty epic tier, the pretty epic tier. because of all those highlight moments and stuff like that. I think there was just more time with Moon Knight, you know, a bit more of delivery on what they said they were going to be bringing with the action and the brutality and the almost horror, psychological horror elements, and you know, the trippy mental fuckery in terms of you know, who's seen what. Is it Steven, is it Mark, or whatever. It would have definitely, I would have loved to put it in most epic for sure, but it just kind of didn't, and it's in pretty epic as a result. One other thing that I quite appreciate about the show is the QR codes, taking a lot of, you know, taking advantage of the QR code fucking thing that's kind of been, obviously they've been about before COVID, but I think everyone has been using QR codes since COVID started, and they gave you a free Moon Knight comic book in every episode with hidden QR codes. It's pretty sick. I like that idea a lot, and I hope they do it a bit more. And especially with a character like Moon Knight, where you want to read his comics and find out more about him. But, you know, if we're going to be seeing more from him soon, I think there's maybe a Werewolf by Night Halloween special coming soon. He's a pretty cool kind of horror character. Hopefully we see a bit of Moon Knight in there. But yeah, we're going to be seeing some more Moon Knight soon, and hopefully Moon Knight Series 1 walked so that the rest of Moon Knight's future could run. And that is probably going to be it today, ladies and gentlemen. The tube review for Moon Knight. Very exciting stuff. Obviously, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has just premiered. It's coming out here in the UK tomorrow. I'm going to be seeing it on Friday as of the 4th of May. So stay tuned for a tube review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm very, very, very excited. You heard it here first. I'm anticipating it. I'm putting it pretty damn high. It may even be most epic. I don't know. But yeah, just wait and see. Wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very, very excited for it. But yeah, that's for now. Tube review of Moon Knight. Let us know what you thought below in the comments or whatever. Share your thoughts. Did you like the show? Do you think it was lame? Like the MCU? Are you one of those dudes that just hate it? You know, it's a very divisive opinion right now. But anyway, thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you've enjoyed this, give it a like. And for the Coleman channel, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, bell, all the usual shit. Check out all the other things like Twitch, twitch.tv/Coleman Live. Watch some streams, feel free to follow, feel free to subscribe, feel free to donate, all that fun epic stuff. Stay tuned for more tube review, more Behind the Process, and Coleman's Career Perspective, which is going to be coming very, very soon. Well, not very soon, but it'll be coming. I've been Coleman. Day and night.